Hello my dear students. In this lecture series in plant physiology, earlier we have seen the MCQ type of the questions based on diffusion, osmosis, diffusion pressure deficit, then water potential, plasmolysis and imbibition. Later on we have completed some other lectures, that is absorption of water, transpiration and ascent of sap. So in today's lecture we will see the different MCQ type of the questions based on this topic. So friends, myself Dr. PITAMBAR HUMANE, founder Botany for You and working as Associate Professor and Head Department of Botany, Dharampeth M Deo Memorial Science College, Nagpur, Maharashtra, India. I welcome you all in this online platform for the students of Life Sciences Botany for You. If you are new or not yet subscribed our YouTube channel, then kindly like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel and also press bell icon for the alerts of every lecture to be uploaded on different Life Sciences titles. If you want to associate with us through the Telegram group, then the link is given in description, so that you can use that link to join the Telegram group and also can take the advantage of the different appointments or the career opportunities in India and abroad in life sciences, as well as the literature in the form of PDF books. So let's see the today's topic, that is MCQs based on absorption of water, transpiration and ascent of sap. The first question, that is, which of the following parts of root is involved in absorption of water in higher plants? In our earlier lecture we have seen there is a presence of root cap, then presence of the meristematic zone, then zone of elongation, then root hair zone, and the last one is a maturation zone. And basically this root hair zone is responsible for the absorption of the water, because the root hair which are present on this root, it is involved in the absorption of capillary water present in the soil, and hence the root hair zone is the correct answer for this question. The main force behind passive absorption of water by root is, when we are talking about the passive absorption, means here no any role is played by the root cells or the roots. So in such cases, if we see the root pressure, it is having the certain role, then osmotic pressure, again the root cells having the role, and the transpiration is carried out through the leaves. So here there is no any role of the roots or the root cells in absorption of the water when the water is absorbed because of the transpiration pull. We have already discussed this theory, that is transpiration pull and cohesion of water theory. Then root pressure is developed in, so if you see the absorption of the water and from the root hair, then it is transported to the cortical region, and from the cortical region then it is transported to the pericycle through the passage cell present on the endodermis. So after that, here the water reaches the xylem, and hence here in the xylem there is a development of the root pressure, so that the water can be transported to each and every part of the body or in a upward direction. So here it is transported through the xylem, and hence the root pressure is developed in the xylem. Then first step in absorption of water by root hair is. So if we have to see the structure of the roots and the presence of the root hairs. So here the water which is present in the soil is first of all adsorbed by the cell wall. So this type of the adsorption of the water by the root hair is nothing but the process of imbibition, and it is the first step in absorption of the water. Then during absorption of water by roots, the flow of water from epidermis to endodermis takes place by, if we see the transport of the water, that is through the cell wall, through the plasma membrane, and through the lumen as well as through the plasmodesmata. And this type of the conditions are known as the apoplastic pathway, symplastic pathway, and transmembrane pathway. And hence all these methods are used during the absorption of the water, and hence D is the correct answer for this question. Then which of the following forms of soil has plenty of water but is physiologically dry? In our earlier classes, we have already discussed this. When the soil having the higher quantity of the water, that is the waterlogged condition, marshy places in which the soil is poorly aerated. In such cases, the soil though contain the ample of water, but then also the roots are unable to absorb the water, and hence such a type of the condition in which there is poorly aerated soil but ample of water is considered as a physiologically dry soil, and hence A is the correct answer for this question. Then in alkaline soils and marshes, the absorption of water is. So whenever we are talking about the alkaline soil or the marshy places where there is a presence of the more salts, so in such cases in the soil there will be the higher osmotic pressure. So if the higher osmotic pressure is there in the soil, in such a condition there is a less amount of the water will be absorbed, because here only there is a single method, that the non-osmotic active absorption of the water, which require the metabolic energy, and hence in such a type of the soil there is a poor absorption of the water. Then which of the following form of the soil water is commonly absorbed by the plants? So earlier we have seen that here the soil water which is present in the soil in between the particles in the form of a thin film. So say for example these are the soil particles, and if here there is a water in the form of the thin particle, so such a type of the water is absorbed, and this type of the water which is present in the form of thin film, that is known as the capillary water. The amount of water retained by the soil after the drainage of gravitational water has become very slow is called as. So after the rainfall, generally some part of the water is retained by the soil and rest of the water is flow away. So such a type of the water which is present in the soil, that is known as the filled capacity of the soil. Which of the following soil particles have smallest diameter? If you see the different type of the soil particles which are involved in the absorption of the water, that out of that the clay having the smallest size of the soil particles. The percentage of soil water left after the plant growing in that soil is permanently wilted is called as. So such a type of the water which is present in the soil, that is known as the wilting coefficient or permanent wilting percentage, and hence B is the correct answer for this question. Then water holding capacity of the soil is much greater in, means which type of the soil having the ability to absorb the maximum amount of the water. So if we compare the sandy soil, clay soil and the loam soil, so the maximum water holding capacity is of the loam soil. Then Casparian strips are found in roots in. So earlier we have seen when the water is absorbed by the root hairs, and after the absorption of this water, when it enter in the cortical cells, so later on from the corticals it enter inside the pericycle through endodermis. But out of the total number of the cells of endodermis, some of the cells of endodermis are provided with the certain thickenings, and because of this thickening, here there is a formation of the Casparian strips on the radial and tangential walls, and rest of the cells which are present opposite to the xylem, they are known as the passage cell. So through only the passage cell the water can move inside the vascular cylinder. So such a type of the Casparian strips and the passage cells are present in a endodermal region or the endodermis. Then water absorbing tissue called velamen is characteristics feature of or found in some of. So actually the velamen is found in the plants which show the epiphytic condition, means the plants which are growing on the other plant for only the support and not for the mode of the nutrition. Such a type of the plants having special type of the roots which are responsible for the absorption of water from the air, means the moisture which is present in the air that is absorbed by such type of the roots, and these roots are commonly developed by such a type of the orchids. So the A is correct answer for this question. The very common example is vanda. Then aquaporins are formed in cell membranes by. So if you see the formation of the aquaporins in cell membrane, it is formed by the integral membrane protein. So the A is correct answer for this question. Then in higher plants, the water is lost from aerial parts of plant mainly through. Earlier we have seen that the elimination of the water in the form of the water vapor, that is known as the transpiration, and this transpiration is classified into the stomatal transpiration, then the lenticular transpiration and cuticular transpiration. Out of that, the maximum transpiration is carried out through the stomata, and hence the answer becomes stomatal transpiration. The stomata open at night in almost many plants, that is maximum plants, the stomata are open during the day and closed during the night. So this is a routine practice in the plants. Though there are some changes in some plants the stomata are open only in the morning, in some plants open during the afternoon, in some plants stomata open in the evening. But whole day the stomata are closed, and during the night the stomata are open. This type of the condition is present in the plants belongs to the family Crassulaceae. That is, such type of the plants are known as the Crassulacean acid metabolism plants or the CAM plants, and hence C is the correct answer for this one, in which the stomata are open in the night. Then stomata open when guard cells become turgid. Earlier we have seen, if the guard cells turgid, at that time there is a open the stomatal pore, and when the guard cells flaccid, at that time the stomata get closed, and hence the turgid become the answer for this question. In plants, transpiration plays an important role in. We have earlier seen the transpiration is a necessary evil which is called by the Curtis. So, if you see the ascent of sap, then in a passive absorption of the water, there is a role of the transpiration. So, the ascent of sap is also carried out because of the transpiration, that is the transpiration pull and cohesion of water theory. Then translocation of the minerals. Once the minerals are absorbed and are present inside the cells, then their translocation is through the cell sap, and hence again it is carried out with the help of transpiration. Then again, one of the supposed role to regulate the temperature is one of the significance of the transpiration, and hence it is considered that though the few amount of the light energy is absorbed during the photosynthesis and rest of the energy is reflected, because of that there is an increase in the temperature of the plant body. But at the same time, when there is a transpiration, because of the release of the water vapors from the plant body, there is a decrease in the temperature of the plant body, and hence regulation of the temperature is one of the supposed role of the transpiration in the plants. And hence all these three are the functions or the roles of the transpiration, and hence D, that is the all the above, become the answer for this question. During day, decreasing water potential and osmotic potential of guard cells leading to stomatal opening are facilitated by. So, if we see this hydrolysis of the starch into the sugar that we have seen earlier, opening and closing of the stomata, sugar is osmotically active, and hence there is an increase in the osmotic pressure or a decrease in the water potential, which is responsible for the entry of the water inside the guard cell or the end osmosis, which result into opening of the stomata. Again, the synthesis of sugar and malate in guard cells result into increase in the osmotic pressure or decrease in the water potential. Again, the ATP driven proton and potassium ion exchange pump mechanism leading to accumulation of the potassium ion in the guard cell, which again result into opening of the stomata. And hence all these three are responsible to increase the osmotic pressure of the guard cells, which result into the end osmosis and opening of the stomata. And hence all the above become the answer for this question. Then which of the following process is sometimes called necessary evils? Earlier we have seen that the Curtis has said that it is a unnecessary process, because even though there is a scarcity of the water in the soil, then also the plants are responsible or to release the water in the form of water vapors through the transpiration. and hence though it cannot be avoided by the plants, here the process is going on, and hence it is said that it is a necessary evil. So the transpiration is known as the necessary evil by the Curtis. Which one of the following colors of light is effective in stomatal opening? If we compare the red light, far red light, blue light and green light, so the effective light in opening of the stomata is blue light. Then which of the following carbon dioxide has a controlling influence on stomatal opening? We have seen that in the leaf there is a presence of the upper epidermis and the lower epidermis, and there are the stomata in the dicotyledon on the lower epidermis and on both in the monocotyledons. Now the xylem which is present in it, which is in association to that of the palisade tissue and spongy parenchyma, it means that the mesophyll cell. So the water is taken from the xylem by the mesophyll cells, and later on there the water vapors are collected in the stomatal cavity. So it means that there is a aggregation of the water or the water vapors in the stomatal cavity. So at the same time, if we are talking about the opening and the closing of the stomata by the carbon dioxide concentration, so here this carbon dioxide is released again in the stomatal cavity, because if we see the night or during the night, the plant only carry out the process of the respiration and no photosynthesis. So the carbon dioxide is not used and only the oxygen is absorbed. So the carbon dioxide concentration increases, and that is in between the cells in the stomatal cavity or in the leaf, and hence the intercellular carbon dioxide having the controlling influence on the stomatal opening or closing and opening of the stomata. The stomata close in water stressed plants due to accumulation of ABA in. So if you see the opening and the closing of the stomata, in the open stomata there is either reduction in the amount of ABA or the ABA is completely found absent. So it means that the ABA is present in the guard cells, which result into the closure of the stomata. So here it is found in the guard cells. The apparatus used in measuring rate of transpiration is, so there are the different type of the instruments or the apparatus which are used for the measuring the rate of the transpiration, which are given by the respective author's name, but they are commonly called as the potometer. Then which of the following substances are not anti-transparent? So the color plastics and the silicones, it is a anti-transparent. Then low viscosities, waxes and ABA, that is also the anti-transparent. Then phenyl mercuric acetate and very high concentration of the carbon dioxide, which result into the closure of the stomata, and hence it is also the anti-transparent. So all these are anti-transparent, but the question asks not anti-transparent, and hence the answer becomes none of the above. In plants, the rate of transpiration is usually maximum in. So if we see the maximum rate of the transpiration, it is just little before the noon, and hence B is the correct answer for this question. Which of the following factors affects the rate of transpiration? Earlier we have seen any factor which affect either the concentration of the water vapors as well as the opening and closing of the stomata are also affecting the rate of the transpiration. So the first one is temperature, that is also affect on the transpiration, because usually from 0 degree to 30 degrees Celsius the stomata are normally open, and if the temperature becomes less than 0 degree or more than 30 degree, the stomata become closed. It means that there is a action or the effect of temperature on the transpiration. Again, if there is a normal wind, there is a opening of the stomata or the stomata remain open for the transpiration. But if there is a violent wind, at that time the rate of transpiration is reduced. Then atmospheric pressure almost have very little effect on the transpiration, and hence all the above are responsible to affect on the rate of the transpiration, and hence D is the correct answer for this question. Then which of the following do not affect the rate of transpiration? Do not affect. So first one, that is the available soil water. So this is important thing, because if there is a decrease in the amount of water in the soil or the water stress condition, in such a cases there is a synthesis of abscisic acid, and because of that the stomata become closed and the rate of the transpiration decreases. Then available soil minerals, the presence of the mineral or the absorption of the mineral not at all related to that of the transpiration, and hence it do not affect the rate of the transpiration. Earlier we have seen the concentration of the carbon dioxide having the controlling effect on the transpiration or opening and closing of the stomata, and hence again it is the correct one. So they do not affect, and hence the available soil minerals do not affect the rate of the transpiration. Then which of the following statement is correct or true? That the sunken stomata reduces the rate of transpiration. Usually the plants which are growing in a scarcity of the water or such a soil where there is a scarcity of the water, which are known as the xerophytic plants, and very commonly in case of the xerophytic plant there are the presence of sunken stomata, and development of such type of the sunken stomata is basically adopted or modified for the transpiration to be checked, and hence it is the correct statement. Then stomatal hairs reduce the rate of transpiration. The another example, that is the nerium, which is one of the xerophytic plant in which the stomata bear the hairs, and because of the presence of the hairs in the stomata, here again it is responsible to reduce the rate of the transpiration, and hence the sunken stomata and the presence of stomatal hair are responsible to reduce the rate of the transpiration, and hence both A and B is correct. Then ascent of sap in higher plants takes place through, earlier we have seen the ring experiment in which we have taken the two beakers and the two different twigs. So in the first one there is a presence of only the xylem and the phloem is removed, and in second one the xylem is removed and the phloem is present. So here only the phloem is present. So if there is a presence of only the phloem, here the leaves after some time show the wilting. It means that the water transported through the xylem, and hence the xylem is the correct answer for this question. Then which of the following scientists gave the vital theories of ascent of sap in plants? Earlier we have seen that the Goldevsky, Transberger and Sir J.C. Bose, all these three are related to that of the livingness of the root cells in absorption of the water or ascent of sap. So all these three are involved. That is the first one. Here there is a pumping activity, and rest of them, that is the pulsatory activity, was provided. So all the above become the answer for this question. Then transpiration, pull and cohesion of water theory of ascent of sap was first proposed by. This theory was proposed by Dixon and Joly, and hence the C is correct answer for this question. Then which of the following plants is tallest angiosperm? So the Sequoia sempervirens, then Australian eucalyptus, the Ficus bengalensis, and none of the above. So the Sequoia again is a tall plant. Eucalyptus is also a tall plant, but Sequoia is a gymnosperm and the Australian eucalyptus is a angiosperm, and hence B is the correct answer for this question. Then cohesive force of water is due to presence of. Earlier we have seen there is a presence of the cohesive and the adhesive force. Cohesive force means the force in between the similar type of the molecules or the water molecules. So the hydrogen bonds between water molecules, because in oxygen here the two hydrogen molecules are joined with each other by means of the covalent bond, and if we see the another water molecule, at that time there is a formation of the hydrogen bond. So because of this hydrogen bond, there is a creation of the cohesive force of the water, and hence A is the correct answer for this question. During ascent of sap, means the transport of the water, continuity of water column in the xylem is maintained by. If you see this continuity of the water column in the xylem during the ascent of sap or the transport of the water, this is because of the cohesive and adhesive property of the water. So hence here the cohesive property and the adhesive property of the water become the answer, and hence C, both A and B become the answer for this question. Then water rises in xylem in the form of. Earlier in transpiration, pull and cohesion of water theory, we have seen there is a presence of the continuous water column from the root to the leaves, and hence the continuous water column become the answer for this question. Then root pressure can be measured by. So if we see the apparatus which is used for the measurement of the root pressure, earlier we have seen this experiment in which one potted plant in the pot is there, and this is the stump, this is the rubber tube, and later on here it is attached to the mercury manometer. So here this mercury manometer is the apparatus which is used to measure the root pressure. Then main force for ascent of sap in higher plants is, if you see the height of the plant, that is 300 to 400 feet. So in such a cases the water column is uplifted because of the transpiration pull, and hence B is the correct answer for this question. Then blocking of a xylem vessels or tracheids by an air bubbles is called as. So this process in which the vessels or the tracheids in the xylem are blocked, then it is known as the embolism. Then repair of embolism by root pressure or the positive xylem pressure has been observed on a nightly basis in. So such type of the experiments were carried out in the herbs, and hence A is the correct answer for this question. Then which of the following does not occur in vascular plants? If you see the vascular plants, here the water stressed induced embolism is present. Then embolism formation by winter freezing, this is also observed in the vascular plants. And pathogen induced embolism is also observed in the vascular plants, and hence none of the above become the answer for this question. Then magnitude of root pressure is around. Earlier we have seen there is only the 2 atmospheric pressure is created in the root, which is responsible to uplift the water column around 34 height of the plant body. Then pulsatory activity of living cells was proposed by. We have seen that the galvanometer was attached to the needle and it is inserted in the plant body. So if we see this experiment, and we will come to know that this experiment was carried out by Sir J.C. Bose, and hence C is the correct answer for this question. Who among the following is related with the physical force theories of the ascent of sap? Goldevsky, Strasburger and Sir J.C. Bose, these are related with the vital theories of ascent of sap. But the Sach says that the imbibition is also responsible for the translocation of the water or the ascent of sap, and this is the part of the physical theory, and hence D is the correct answer for this question. So friends, if you have not yet watched the earlier lectures on the absorption of water, ascent of sap and transpiration, then watch it first and then watch this lecture so that you can understand the satisfactory answers given during this lecture. I am very much hopeful and confident that this lecture will be useful to you in preparation of your examinations for the UG, PG as well as the different competitive examinations like the NET, SET, SLET and even the JAM. Thank you very much for watching this lecture completely. If you like this lecture and if it is useful to you, then kindly like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel Botany for You. And also press bell icon for the alerts of every lecture to be uploaded on different life sciences titles. Thanks a lot once again.